Hey, Natasha here. In this video, we are going to discuss the hidden culprit behind the ongoing dread and burnout that you feel and give you the keys to get out and stay out. And of course, it is going to be your calendar. So I want you to go ahead, like, subscribe, follow, do all the things, comment. And I invite you to check out my Fear Chronicles podcast, which is all things strategy and mindset for that perspective shift that you are looking for. Now, when I had my private practice, I had a calendar that I lived by, and it also was a hot mess. And what I mean by that is it looked great on paper or in my phone, right? It had arbitrary work blocks, it had appointments in it, and it looked very productive. Lots of to-do lists, lots of things going on in there. But the problem with it was that A, it didn't align to my energy, and B, it was in complete disarray. And it showed up as evidence in the world around me. So I want you to ask yourself this. Does my calendar reflect the full life that I envision for myself? Does other things on my calendar that I don't actually want to be there, things that I don't prefer? Is there things on my calendar right now that no longer resonate with me? And the best question of all of my questions is this. Ask yourself, does my current calendar reflect events, activities, tasks that my future version of myself would do? And why or why not, depending on your answer. All right, so let's dive in. So did a combo this time. We're looking because your calendar is feedback. This is your key. And it is a feedback loop. So what happens in your calendar is what you're going to get back. And then what you get back goes in your calendar. So in order to break this loop, we're going to dive into some key areas. I also have 2 stick figures this time. And if you can see, this top one is a happy one. It's a happy stick figure, and it's got a heart. It's in a happy place. The bottom one is not so happy. I was going to draw fire, but, my animation skills are not that great. So there's just like little fuming flames coming out of it. But this one is angry, or at least not happy. It can be an array of feelings that are not happiness. Okay, so the first thing that I want to discuss here in this video is the fact of urgency versus importance. And we tend to blur the line with what we deem is important, and we treat it like it's urgent. So is it important or is it urgent? So urgent being something's on fire. So tell me, what is on fire that you feel like you have to immediately respond to every email, answer every time your phone rings, or give a response to an invitation to something immediately? What is on fire? Why do you feel like that is something that needs to happen? Now, this is for business and this can be for personal, because likely what you're doing in your business is what you're doing in everything else, right? Because how you do one thing is how you do all things. So you cannot treat everything like it's on fire and has to be done that second. So that's the first thing, because this is going to bleed directly into your calendar. So when you get, say, a calendar invite for an event, an invitation of some kind, or someone emails you and asks you if you would be on a panel or something, invite you to do a new project, and you immediately go to, I have to give a response right this second. What if you gave yourself permission to take a pause in all things and take a pause? And the reason we take the pause is so what? You can let that digest. You can actually think about, do you even want to do the thing? Because when we are acting out of a state of urgency, that's not necessarily the best way to make a decision, right? Because I won't in this video go into more in depth on time, even the time of day or time aligned with you to even make decisions. But you don't need to give it immediate response. You can give yourself permission to take a beat and think about it. So you might be saying, okay, that sounds great, but I don't want to come off as rude, or I don't want to come off as this. There's simple responses that you can give that don't have to give an answer. I think we all know these things intellectually, but when it comes to the actual action, there's a discrepancy there. There's a disconnect. So say you get that email for an invitation for something. You can respond and say, this sounds great. Let me get back to you. Or I would love to consider this. I will respond. And here's a bonus. You can give a time frame and I'll get back to you in tomorrow or in a couple of days or next business day or whatever. And then that gives you whatever time that you feel that you need to really kind of think about and decide, because you really want to be making calculated decisions, especially related to your business, on what are the needle moving things that are a focus for you right now and what are aligned to you right now. Because a lot of times when we're acting out of urgency or feeling like we have to respond, say something in the moment, the likelihood that you're deducing and saying, yes, this is aligned or this is not aligned, or, you don't have time to weigh your options or to really think about, is that really, strategically what I want to do? Or if this is even an aligned business partnership, right? And then if you say yes to something that you really, once you thought about it, or once you're in, you start kind of getting the kind of the icky feels, that's usually a sign that you should have either A, thought about it, or B, it's not even for you. And now you feel obligated. And then more than likely, you're not going to back out on something that you said. And then you're going to go through with something that's either going to take you away from your business or just not feel good. And that is not what we want to do, because what we are transforming and doing with our business is to make this aligned. So back to your calendar. You don't have to respond right away. You don't have to accept events right away. And you don't have to do everything out of a state of everything is on fire. Could it be important? Yes. But is it on fire? Likely not. Okay? So give yourself permission. That's the takeaway from that one. So you are allowed to give yourself space and time to think about decisions. Like, am I going to do this? Do I want to continue on with this? Do I want to invest? Whether it's time, money, whatever it is, collaborations of any kind. Okay? Now, the second here is balance. And what I mean by balance is, even aesthetically, as we look at our calendar, say we're looking at it from a 7-day look, like we're looking at it, that should be balanced. So what I mean by the balance is, when you look at your calendar, it should be full. Now, stay with me. Full in the sense that, yes, it's all filled up, but it's not all things that need to be done with work. What I mean is there is intentional blank space. There's spots that are filled up with nothing, right? So you have a spot for rest. You have a spot where it's just you time, which is going to be bleeding into the next one, but that's just for you. You fill your calendar. It's got work stuff. It's got family stuff. It's got medical appointments. This is all the things that we're going to talk about right here. But it is full life, because that is what your calendar is. It represents your entire life, not just your work. And if you have different calendars, because some people do, that's strictly work and then life, I want you to kind of reflect on that, because if your calendar is so full that you cannot merge or sync your calendars together between your work life and your personal life, I really want you to ask yourself, is that what you want? Is that aligned to you? Because if you can't blend your calendars together, Personally, I feel like that's very telling. So, and depending on some people's jobs, it is like that. But in this realm, everything should fit into one calendar because you are one person and you are not a robot and you're not living multiple lives. So your work life, your personal life, and everything that's involved in between, and you are included in that, should all be able to fit in this calendar. Therefore, your calendar should be full. And when it is full, it is balanced. Got it? Okay. So the next one is just you. So I said yes in the space of rest, but this is you, all things you. Your calendar should be full and balanced because you are eating, you are resting, you are going to the doctor, you are doing things that you like to do. So that could be anything. So I'm just going to write joy here. Okay. You're doing things that light you up, that bring you joy. And that is whatever that is for you. Things that are solely for you and not anybody else. Something to fill up your cup. Okay. That is another way that your calendar is full. Now, there is a reason that I wrote things in this order because the very last thing is work. And that's on purpose. Now, work isn't at the top because is that what your life is? Do you prioritize your work over you? I hope not, okay? Your work supports everything else. It supports you. It supports your life. It supports your clients. It supports all the things. But you can't prioritize your work. Again, your work is not urgent in the sense that, is the world on fire? No, it supports. Everything should be in support of. But that is not how you want to build out your calendar, because if your work is outweighing everything else in your life, you have to really ask yourself, why is that? And then also, does that feel good? Is that what I want? Likely not. You want to have a well-rounded life and you want to feel like you go to work feeling refreshed and fulfilled and loving what it is that you do, and you have a nice balance of things that light you up or people that light you up and all of the things. So that is where life comes in. So if you are a parent, that is obviously your kids. If you don't have kids, that is okay. You have all kinds of lovely people in your life. That is your family. That is if you have a significant other. And of course, your friends. And for a lot of people, their friends are their family. So that also should be in your calendar. So again, that is balance. And that is why your calendar is full. I know when people hear full, they're like, ugh, full in all the best ways. Because I think when we have that guttural reaction, when we think of, oh, my calendar is full, it's because we've been filling it in a way that A, is not sustainable. That's why we are here. But it doesn't feel good because it's a lot of things that we feel obligated to do, or things that we don't want to do. Again, like the questions I asked you in the beginning, do things not resonate with you anymore? There are things that on there that you don't even know why it's on there anymore, but it's been on there so long that you just do the things because we're creatures of habit. So full in all the best ways possible. And then the last one is your work. And when we talk about work, obviously we know what work means now, but this one is key. Can I spell? I hope so. There we go. It's last on purpose, and this is boundaries. So when we have a really lopsided calendar, or a calendar that only includes all the work that we're doing and just about nothing else, maybe going to the grocery store and get some groceries. I mean, that was our calendar for a really long time. It was just 90% of it was work, and like 10% was like errands and stuff. This is before kids. But still, yes. Now, when I talk about boundaries, what I am talking about is those work time boundaries, because that is going to bleed into what your calendar looks like. So if we are notoriously not honoring or have not set up work time boundaries, go back and do that. And what I mean by that is, what days of the week are you working? What time? What is your start time? What is your end time? When are you taking a lunch? When are you feeding yourself? When are you establish all of that? And it better not be 7 days a week, or I'm going to come over there and we're going to have a problem. So needs to have a nice balance. Hopefully it's within, a 5 days of 7 day work, week. So you're not working more than 5 days. You're able to work less. Great. If you're a fan of 4/10s, great. I don't care. And who says you have to work 40 hours a week? That is just nonsense. You don't have to, but if that's what you're striving for, then that's what you do. But then of that, you got to break down how much of that is admin time and how much of that is client facing, or if it's all admin, whatever your ratio is. But just create those and then honor those and then put those in your calendar. Now, and the reason work is last and will always be last in my book is this, because your non-negotiables go in first. Yes, you work, but again, that is in support of your life. So all these other things, we're not, nothing's on fire. You have total agency in what your calendar looks like, what's in there and what's not in there. So if you don't like something, take it out of there. Don't do it. And then go through and you start with yourself and your family and or your kids or whatever, and you make that calendar, you put all those things in first. And then you go back in and you put in the work stuff, because you are not fitting your life around your work. You're fitting your work around your life. Get your priorities straight. That is how I'm going to help you do this. But you fit that in and you do it last. And if you really feel like that is just so hard to do, fine, put in your work blocks. But I guarantee you, you are going to take things out that are important to the balance. That's why I really strongly encourage that you do your non-negotiables first. And work is not a non-negotiable. When I have non-negotiables, I'm talking about you, your life, and your friends and your family and the events, and you're going to the doctor. Did I write that on there? I did. All of the things, and you're taking care of you, because without you, there is no business. So you have to put yourself first, and you put your family first, and you put the things that are a priority to you and that full life, and your calendar will be full, because you will not schedule in rest breaks if you put your work blocks in first. I did that for years. So I'm telling you to do it the other way around and then put the work stuff in last. So hopefully this is helpful for you. What I really want you to take away from this video is that your calendar is obviously used for many different things. It's not just for your work. And what's super telling, we go back to the fact that there's this feedback loop. We don't change what's going on in our calendars, nothing is going to change. If we don't like what's going on in our calendars, we have full agency to change that. And if you're in a place that you don't desire, whether that is you're not reaching goals or you're not getting the revenue that you want, what is super telling is that your calendar is always going to show you the truth about where you are. That's where I've said in previous videos that your calendar is analytics, because it is. So if you don't like where you are, you have to go back and look at what is in your calendar, because it's going to tell you everything. It's going to tell you why you're not hitting those goals. It's going to tell you what's lacking or if there's too much of something. So if there is a discrepancy between the life that you want and what is actually happening, you have to take a look at your calendar and know that that burnout, that ongoing dread, everything that you're feeling, that is feedback. So go to the source, which is your calendar. So again, thank you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Feel free to check out my 2-minute Are You the Bottleneck quiz to find out who or what is slowing down you in your progress. And I'll see you in the next one.